Hello guys, my name is Donnie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to start installing the body on this Jaguar's chassis. But before we do that, I just want to go off subject for 30 seconds by saying, guys, thank you for all of you all's feedback on what color you want me to paint this Messerschmitt. I've had many suggestions, yellows and greens, but the two most suggested colors was a red with a white accent of some sorts, or a blue with a white offset of some sorts. So guys, I've decided that I'm going to leave it up to you guys what color I'm going to paint this car. So I'm going to be counting all of the suggestions, and whichever way it goes, I'm going to be painting it that color. And I think it's either going to be red with white or blue with white. But if you have any suggestions, you can leave it in the comment, even in this video or any other video. I count them all, but in the end of the day, when I'm going to paint this car, I'm going to be painting it whatever color you guys voted for most. Any case, let's get back to the Jaguar. Guys, here's the Jaguar, and I've put the body or the shell back on the chassis once again, and I've made many measurements of a real car. And this is more or less exactly where it needs to stand or sit. The clearance is okay, everything is fine. But the big thing is that here at the bottom, if you look at this, I don't know if you can call it the tub part or whatever you call it, is very skinny compared to an actual D-type. And I've made a lot of measurements, and I've found that from there to there is much skinnier than the original car is. Now it needs to bend in, as you can see over there, it bends in slightly like that, and I could theoretically pull it outwards so that it can drop down, but then that slant will be too shallow. It'll go almost vertically down, which is not right. It needs to slope like that. So I'm just gonna mock up a piece of steel just to show you guys exactly how low it is supposed to go, just to give you an idea. Just give me a second of where that tub needs to lay. Now guys, look at that. I mean, that is how low this part of the tub is supposed to go. It's about 180 millimeters clearance, more or less. Obviously my floor is not exactly flat, but that's just to give you an indication of how much that needs to drop down. Now I've decided that I'm going to be replacing that part with aluminium. So I'm going to be cutting the body over there on that line, which is more or less the line where the original car was separated, and I'm going to be replacing that bottom part with aluminium, which is going to make it even closer to the original as far as the replica goes. So guys, how I'm going to be going about doing it is I will be welding a piece of square tubing in the right position at the bottom as a support, and it also needs a piece of square tubing going out at the back there for I don't know what reason, if it was a jack point on the original car or what, but it needs to be a piece of square tubing coming out there. So I'm going to be welding this one in position, and then at the top I'm going to be using some aluminium square tubing, and I'm going to start making a frame, and then I'm going to clad it with aluminium, and hopefully the dimensions will be right, and hopefully by then we can cut this piece of fiberglass off and put this fiberglass shell on top of the new aluminium part, and hopefully everything will fit nice and it'll look awesome. So guys, let's get cracking. Okay guys, so now I have tacked all the square tubings into position, and I did put them at a bit of an angle so that the aluminium can now work from there. And I did check and double check and made sure that all the measurements are correct. So all I need to do now is just box up these square tubings here and over there, and just weld everything properly and put some paint on it, and then I can start with the aluminium work. Let's do it. Okay guys, so now that I've got the steel work all done, I'm going to start with the aluminium work. And what I want to do is I'm going to have to cut these cross sections or the ribs out of aluminium, so that we can then clad it with the outer piece of this bottom part of the body. And I'm going to use the existing measurements that I've got, and I'm also going to use this fiberglass pieces that I'm using just to make sure that everything fits. And I'm going to attempt to make a pattern on this piece of brown paper that I can then cut out and use that as a stencil on the aluminium to make these cross sections, and then we can start with the cladding on the sides. Let's get going. Okay dokie dudes, I have now finished these cross sections, and now I can start fitting them on the chassis, and then we can do that piece over there to replace that piece of fiberglass, the under section. Let's do that. There we go, guys, done and dusted. Man, let me tell you, I now know how to use a rivet gun. It's all in the wrist. But guys, there we go. I put these aluminium sides on and it is starting to look like business. I can tell you, there's just something about aluminium that you cannot replicate with fiberglass. I think it's starting to look like something, that's for certain. I took the liberty to do the other side off camera, but obviously it was just the same. Now in the next video I can start cutting that underneath of that body off and start fitting it on top of this chassis. But I gotta tell you guys, this is now really starting to look like something. I like it a lot. Still some aluminium work that needs to happen on the inside, and I'm gonna try and use at least parts of that fiberglass tub at the bottom here. But guys, I think that we've got something going here. This is gonna look beautiful. Any case, guys, thanks for joining me once again, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!